Hello, welcome back to Tejedoraknits. My name is Gladys. I am a knitter and crafter based out of Southern Nevada. And today I have my spring makes, my spring plans for you. So I'll be honest, I'm quite sad that winter is coming to an end. Winter is my favorite season. And the same way that some people get, seasonal winter depression, I get seasonal summer heat depression. I don't like the summertime here. It is quite brutal. So I'm feeling quite sad about it, but I'm trying my best to not borrow from tomorrow's troubles and, enjoy the weather while it does last. So spring is rapidly approaching here in Southern Nevada. We are in the 60s this week. I'm filming this mid-February. Yes, today's February 15th, I believe. So right past the midpoint of February. So it is time for me to start thinking about spring and summer. Like it or not, it is here. Allergy season is also in full swing. So great things happening, But nevertheless, we are here. I'm trying out a new microphone. Let me know how the audio quality is. I was planning on having my yarn board installed by the time I filmed this video, but a few hiccups with the installation, and it turned out to be a little bit more complicated than I had anticipated. So that one will probably be the next video. So hopefully this is the last one with the blank background, but let's get into it. So I have kind of a few different components to this. So first I want to go over the things that I finished in winter, which is for me is going to be December, January, and February, or at least what I think I will hopefully finish in the month of February. I have five projects. I have 5 projects. That is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5 projects that I have the yarn for. The patterns are chosen. It is pretty much set in stone that I will be making these patterns. And then I have a few more that I was also inspired to, that I was kind of, picking between. And something that I didn't make like a specific 2025 knitting plan video, but after starting to film these videos, and I have a few more pattern deep dives that I have been working on, I've come to realize that I want my goal for 2025 to be experimentation. Experimenting with new pattern designers, with new indie dyers, with new commercial yarns. 2024 was my very first year that I learned how to knit and crochet. I had learned as a kid, and in my yarn board video, I'm going to, be a little bit more chatty and kind of give you the full story. I learned when I was in middle school, and, like all middle schoolers, you do the rectangular scarf, but I never, picked the craft back up until 2024. So I will classify myself as a very adventurous, advanced beginner. I'm definitely not an expert by any means, but I like adventure, and I want this craft to be fun and enjoyable for me, and not what I classify as boring. That doesn't mean that if you like beige stockinette, that's absolutely fine, but that's just not in my style and my color preferences, and that's also totally fine. So yes, let's go ahead and get into it. So what I finished for December, and I have everything written out in a little notebook. There's just something so nice about sometimes just putting pen to paper. I will be bringing out my computer for the patterns that I liked but didn't end up using, just so that I have more information on them. So let's start with between the months of December and February, I finished 2 vests. I have my Audrey vest and my Stockholm vest. I finished 1 sweater, the Acorn Pullover, which is what I am wearing today. And in full transparency, I have my fan on, so I could wear this without profusely sweating. Because yeah, it's not cold. It's not cold here. I finished a pair of socks, a pair of fade socks from Summerly Knits. Oh, I forgot to mention the makers. Audrey vest is from Sari Nordland. The Stockholm vest is from Petite Knit. Acorn Pullover is also from Sari Nordland. My fade socks were for Summerly Knits. I knitted the Musselburgh hat from Zolda Teague. And then I finished the Polymenia mitts, which you will see in an upcoming podcast. I finished the Polymenia mitts from Sari Nordland as well. I do have one of her books, so I'm trying to use patterns from those books. I have the Summerly sock book and the Sari Nordland Softly Timeless knit books. So you'll see a lot of patterns from there. And then I have 3 works in progress that we'll be finishing up soon. I have my Seaway pullover from Rosetta, my Terpistore scarf also from Sari Nordland that's going to be a little set with the Polymenia mitts. And then I have a pair of socks. I have the Soma socks also from Summerly Knits. So as you can see, I have quite a bit of repetition with my pattern designers. Sorry, Nordland, cough, cough. And I was kind of reflecting on that a little bit. And I feel like as a beginner knitter, I was a bit overwhelmed with just like the massive amount of patterns that are available. And it was giving me like decision paralysis. So I kind of course, Sari Nordland is a very popular pattern designer. So she just has such an extensive library. And for me, it was just so much easier to just stick to that one library and pick patterns from there. But now that I'm a little bit more settled in and a little bit more knowledgeable, I'm definitely going to try and expand and try new pattern designers. So that's my goal for 2025. So you'll see here that I tried to do a good variety of designers. So let's get started on the for sure makes of spring. So first one that I'll talk about the, where to start? Okay, let's start with probably one of the more popular patterns, a new pattern from Andrea Mowry, and that is her Moon Mint sweater. So I have a yarn for it. It's going to be with my Woolberry Woolberry Co. linen yarn. I don't know the exact name of this colorway because it was a mystery box. I think I might have figured out based on their Instagram. If so, I'll pop the name into the description bar. But this is the yarn that I'm planning on using. It's a 50% alpaca, 25 linen, 25 silk blend. Very nice and lightweight. The reason why, and I'll make sure to scooch over so I can have the patterns up here. The reason why I chose this pattern is one, it's fingering weight. So it does have that contrast color. So I think it, with that overlap, it'll, make up a DK weight. The contrast color I will be purchasing quite soon. It's going to be the Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in the color olive. I'm going to use that one as my contrast. So I feel like the combination of having more of that lightweight finished fabric, but also with summer yarns, I feel like that'll make it a bit more usable. My very first pattern that I knit was an Andrea Mowry pattern. I think it was a bit advanced for me. It did not turn out very well. I have so many mistakes and tension issues, so I don't think that I will ever wear it. And the yarn is also just not super comfortable for me. But that was a bottom up drop shoulder, if I'm not mistaken. And that's this construction as well, the bottom up. She seems to really favor bottom up sweaters. I'm not exactly sure how I feel about them quite yet, but we're going to give it a go. So I really liked the contrast color, the texture, and again, hopefully making it with those summer yarns and lighter fabrics will make it pretty wearable for me. So that is going to be my first project. My next one, let's go with one that I'm actually really excited about. I am going to make what I'm going to call my tomato sweater. So the name tomato sweater comes specifically from the yarn. I'm going to be using the Explorer Knits and Fibers. It's from their Farmers Market collection. This is called Heirloom, and from Heirloom Tomatoes. That's why we're calling it my tomato sweater. And it's going to be, this is in their linen sock base. So 80% non-superwash merino, 20% linen. So I love that it's I feel like the camera's picking up the color accurately. It's a true red. I don't prefer orangey reds. I just feel like with my olive skin tone, the orange is a bit, I don't know. I'm just not a fan of how orangey reds look on me. So I prefer true reds or neutral reds. So my plan for this one is to make my own self-drafted sweater. I'm very excited about it. So this is a fingering weight. So it is going to be a fingering weight sweater. So I'm taking inspiration from like 3 different patterns. So a combination of inspiration from the Cozy Classic Light from Jessie May Designs, a bit of a petite knit no frill sweater since I already own that pattern, and I'm going to incorporate also a few details from the Seaway pullover from Rosetta that I'm making. So current plan is I want to do a raglan. I want a very open gauge. So I think I'm going to I think I'm going to start swatching maybe with like a 4mm and see how that goes. We'll see. But I'm going to play around with the gauge a bit to do a very open, airy gauge. My inspo for this is I want this to be like a beachy summer sweater because I will be taking a little Southern California cold beach. Hopefully it's cold. I'm praying it'll be cold, like a little beach trip. So that's kind of my inspo for it. I want it to be like a gauzy, breezy, relaxed chill. So I'm going to do a top-down raglan. I want an open neckline. So I'm going to take the petite knit no frills stitch count and kind of modify it a little bit. I think I'm going to look at the stitch count after 2 sets of raglan increases again, since I want it to be quite an open neckline. I am going to do a I-cord neckline. I don't want any ribbing in this one. I feel like the I-cord, I don't know. I'm a really big fan of I-cord finishings. I've only used it once, but I really like the fabric and, the finished look that it provided. So I-cord finishing for, a classic raglan. I want it to be a little bit oversized. I'm going to try and aim for about 3 to 4 inches of positive ease. We'll see how close I actually get to that. I want to do regular sleeves, no tapering, no decreases in the sleeves. I am curious about maybe adding some short row shaping to the shoulders. Since I don't want to do any decreases, maybe that extra shaping will be helpful. And that's what I learned. My Seaway pullover from Ozetta is the first sweater that I've ever done with short row shaping. However, I'm not sure if short row shaping for sleeves is more tailored towards drop sleeve constructions. Like, does it make sense to include it in a raglan? If you have any thoughts on that, please let me know, because I have no idea. But it can be very much a trial and error situation. So that's the plan. I also want I-cord finishings on the sleeves and on the hem. Now, I only have 2 skeins of this linen sock. Explorer Knits and Fibers is about to have their in-stock update probably the day after I'm filming this, I believe. And I did check, and they will be having a few skeins of this specific yarn. I think I'll probably pick up a 3rd skein just to have backup. I like to knit on the edge and play yarn chicken quite a bit rather than have a lot of leftovers. But so I originally took the yarn amount from Jessie May Designs for my size, and I think it was coming up to like 2.1 or 2.2 skeins of yarn. So I was like, we'll make it work with 2 skeins. But now that I'm going to do self-drafted and I want to make a few modifications, I'm kind of like, I don't know, I'm debated, but I should pick up a 3rd skein just to have that flexibility when I'm, making up the sweater. So I'll most likely do that. And I also am planning on doing a project vlog for this one because it is my own self-draft. Of course, I am taking inspiration and some, numbers from other patterns, but I feel like they will be modified enough to where I'll feel more comfortable sharing things like stitch counts and, more details about the pattern. So that is the plan. We will see. I'll be swatching for this very soon. So I'm very excited about this one because I get to use a lot more of the analytical side. I'm sorry, I'm already sweating from wearing this sweater. So I get to use more of the analytical side of knitting, which I love just as much as the creative side. So that is plan number 2. Now I will move on to plan number 3, which is going to be a cloudy day vest from Alicia Plummer. And the yarn that I have for this is from WitchFire Fibers. It is their Natural Decay in the color Coven Sister. So this is a non-superwash organic merino. Very beautiful, like plummy. I feel like this color is very seasonal. Well, for me, I will say, because I haven't done like a proper color analysis, but I'm almost positive that I am some sort of autumn colorway. And this is a color that is very up my alley. And I kind of feel like it can go spring, it can go autumn, it can go either way. And I have 2 skeins of this, and I really like that vest because it has, those little hoofs of cloud. She does recommend a bit of a structured yarn to help hold on to that texture. And I hope that this will fit the bill. I think it will. It is knit flat, if I remember correctly, and then seamed up the sides. However, she does mention that it is quite easy to modify and, knit in the round. So I've been debating on which way I want to go with it. I think I might do it flat just because I know that seaming provides extra structure. I personally don't mind seaming. I know how to sew. I learned how to sew long before I learned how to knit. I don't do much of it now in the sense of like making full sewn garments. I mostly just like use it to tailor my pre-made garments for the most part. Maybe one day I'll get more into fully sewing, things from scratch, but that's not happening today. So anyways, I think I might do the knitting it flat and then providing that structure from the seaming. I also like how Alicia has it styled as like a tank. So again, a little bit more versatility for April and more April, I guess, like spring and fall. So I'm quite excited for that. And I feel like vests are a little bit more versatile for me because, again, you can style them more as a tank or over a short sleeve t-shirt or, layering it with more warmer layers for the winter time. So I'm quite excited for that one. I'm a big texture knit person, so I think that one will be quite satisfying. And then the fourth project that I have for me, the fifth project is not for me, but the fourth project is going to be moving into a summer tea. So I'm going to be making the Movement Tea by Lily Kate Makes. And this one I'm making in a cotton yarn from Purl Soho. The yarn is called Serif. And the main color is the blue, which is called Blue Creek. And then the stripes will be in this gray that is called Gray Birch. So it is 100% Pima cotton, and it does have this, let me see if it'll focus on the yarn instead of my face. There we go. It does have this little bit of texture. So we'll see how that knits up. This is a DK weight. So I have 2 fingering and 2 DK weight plans so far. This Movement Tea really caught my eye because it was, it gives that sporty vibe. I feel like I work in a quite casual office environment. Well, I feel like we can take it either way. There are a lot of us who dress up quite a bit, and there are a lot of us who will, come in scrubs. It is in the healthcare space. We'll come in scrubs and sometimes leggings. So, we have a good variety of personalities and dress levels, I guess we can put it that way. Our manager is not super strict on that. It's like, whatever makes you feel comfortable, as long as your work is getting done, what you're wearing is not reflective of that. So I have a lot of flexibility, and this is definitely something that I will be able to wear to work. So the only thing is I'm a little hesitant about how a DK weight t-shirt will be in the summertime. There's only one way to know, which is to try it out. So I'm going to try it out, and if anything, maybe it'll be a springtime and a fall time garment. But to be honest, in July and August, when it's 110 degrees most of the time, I highly doubt that I'll be wearing knit anything at that point. But maybe, at work because it is in the AC. But then I also have to walk a lot in between the clinic and the hospital. So I don't know. We're going to try it and see. But this is my fourth plan that I have for myself for the springtime. And then I have one more plan. And with this, I'll open up a little conversation about gift knits. Okay, I'm so sorry. We need to pause. I need to take this sweater off. This is too much now. Okay, so I've taken off my sweater. I'm actually refilming this a little bit because I went back and realized I had my hair in front of the microphone, so you could hear my hair moving around throughout this whole clip. And that was not the best look. So I decided to, let's just refilm it. So I had left off on gift knits. So for me, I personally have a lot of knit-worthy people in my life that I would love to make items for. Last year, in 2024, I didn't make any gift knits because, I was very much a beginner. I wasn't super comfortable with a lot of techniques yet, and, just didn't feel confident enough in producing nice items for, those knit-worthy people in my life. But now I have reached that point. I feel confident and comfortable in making, nice quality items now. So, like I said, I have a lot of knit-worthy people in my life, and there's also a limited amount of space in my wardrobe. Like I can't have 40 knit sweaters in my wardrobe. It's just not feasible. And I want to be able to knit for a very long time. So I'm choosing to be very intentional and pacing myself. Maybe I won't have like 50 finished items at the end of the year, but what's the rush? So I decided, including items for other people is a really good way of spreading the love and also making sure I'm not filling up my wardrobe too quickly. So I'm inserting my gift knits. I figured I want to have a gift knit going on at all times, in the background, so that way I can have plenty of time and make really nice things instead of trying to jam it all into November and December. I don't like working on a deadline, so this is just what works for me. I totally understand. Everybody has a different perspective on gift knits. If you don't like knitting for other people, that is totally fine, but I personally do, so I'm going to lean into that. For example, my son has already requested if he could have a pair of blue socks and a pair of blue fingerless mitts. Since he sees me wear my fingerless mitts when I go take him to school, he really liked it, so he asked if he could have one, so absolutely. I'm also planning on making him a Christmas beanie, the Knitting for Olive or Pernille Larson beanie that has like the colorwork trees and the snow. I think that's so cute, so I want to make that as well. And then for my mother, she's the most knit-worthy person ever. So I want to make her everything. I want to make her socks. I want to make her a shawl, a sweater, like everything. But we're going to take it one thing at a time. So I decided to start with my mother, and I asked her, what would you like in a sweater? If I were to make you a sweater. So she gave me 3 key requirements or points. So first one is she asked for the yarn to have some sort of alpaca content. She knows that I love alpacas as an animal. My retirement dream is to have a little trio of alpacas. I love them so much. So, and I had told her that alpaca yarn is very lightweight and very warm, and she runs a lot colder than I do. So she, was interested in having an alpaca sweater. So I started there. The other 2 requirements that she had were about construction. She wanted stockinette and she wanted a V-neck. Again, she also doesn't like tight necklines the same way that I don't like tight necklines. So I started with the yarn. So my first thought when I was looking for yarns, I was going for the Isager Alpaca 3, which is classified, at least on the Wool & Co website, which is where I was looking at it. It's classified as a DK weight. So it's 50% wool, 50% alpaca. So I thought that was a really good option. I liked the colorways that were available. I tried to do a little bit more research on the yarn. So here on YouTube, I was looking at Young Folk Knits. Casey is her name, I believe. And she had a project made out of alpaca 3. It was that super popular Sari Nordland colorwork sweater. Lume? I think it's Lume, something along those lines. But she had used that yarn, and she was mentioning that it was a very airy yarn. It is a chainette construction, so the air gets trapped and it floofs up. So she was mentioning that it definitely works up more as a worsted / almost Aran type of weight. Again, because you can smoosh it up and you can floof it up. So I was kind of concerned that it might not work for like a DK weight pattern. So I kind of put that idea on the back burner and then went to look for patterns. So I was searching around for those, V-net stockinettes, but also from a pattern designer that I had not yet made to meet that discovery goal of mine. And I ended up settling on the Home Sweater V-neck from Caidree. I didn't write down the designer name on my notebook, but I'm pretty sure it's Caidree. If not, of course I'll enter the right name. But I showed it to my mother. She said it was great. And I think the thing that I like the most about it is that it is one of those patterns that has more of an open gauge, larger needle size with a fluffier yarn to fill in the gaps. So I figured the Alpaca 3 might work perfectly for it. So that's what we went for. So I pulled up the Alpaca 3 on, the website and let my mother go through the color selection and choose whichever one she wanted. And this is the color that she chose. So let me pull down the label so you can see it closer. And hopefully you can see that like chainette construction. It makes it like very, there we go. Will it focus? I don't know if it's focusing. But as you can see, it's like ploofy. Ploofy, is that what we're going to use? Ploofy, let's call it ploofy. And it is this like very blue-green. I feel like on the website it looked a tad bit greener. Here it's definitely a little bit more blue in person, but of course it does have that green, that like sea sea blue-green tinge to it. So I got a sweater's quantity of this yarn for her. I'm going to make a size large in the pattern, and I'm pretty sure I could finish this up before it is too hot to have an alpaca sweater on my lap. We'll see. There's no rush. I wanted to cast on right away, but I think the recommended needle size is a 5mm, and I currently have my 5mm on my Seaway pullover. So I figured I'll wait until I finish that one and then start with this one. So yeah, I'm just going to store all of my gift knits away as I finish them and let them accumulate and make my life so much easier when the holidays roll around. So yeah, that is the 5th and final plan. So now we'll move into the additional patterns that I was considering but didn't end up choosing. So it might be a little bit more inspiration for you, or these patterns might be a little bit more adequate for you than the ones that I did choose. So let's move into that. Okay, so I am ready to go over the other patterns. So first I'll start with the other patterns that I was considering from Alicia Plummer. So first there is the Cloudy Days pullover, or I guess like sweater version. So essentially it's just a sweater version of the vest that I'm going to be knitting. So I feel like if you live in a bit of a warmer climate where you could wear sweaters a little bit further into the season, this would be a good idea. It has that same little puff stitch detailing. Fun fact, the recommended yarn is the Isager Alpaca 3 that I purchased for my mother's sweater. So that is the recommended yarn. I have actual pattern details up now. So it is recommended to be knit on 6mm needles. So I feel like it would hopefully be a bit of a quicker knit. And of course, all of the patterns that I have mentioned are size inclusive. That's important for me. So everything should be size inclusive. And if not, I will consider whether I will be using that pattern or not. But like I said, I'm pretty sure they're all size inclusive. So this is one of the contenders. Ultimately, I just decided that a vest is more practical for me. And then there was one more pattern from Alicia that I was considering, and it is called Tucker. So the Tucker tee, the Tucker shirt, however you want to call it. You could do a long sleeve version or a short sleeve. So this is in a sport weight. So again, I feel like it would provide a little bit of that lighter fabric for more of like the transitional pieces. Or again, if you live in a place that has cooler summers, I feel like this would also be a really nice little summer piece. This one is knit on 3.75mm needle. So I think that that's quite a comfortable size. I really like the little pocket that it has in front. I feel like it's just I feel like Alicia's pattern vibe in general is very, outdoorsy, rustic-y. I believe she's based out of Maine, so I feel like her patterns are very reflective of that, and I quite enjoy that. So those are two other patterns from her that I was considering. Then another pattern from Lily Kate Makes. So this is another t-shirt pattern. So I was deciding between the movement tee that I ended up choosing and then this calm down tee. So this calm down tee is also a DK weight, same as the other one, knit on 4mm needles. This one has a little bit of a different construction. This one is more fitted than the other one. So I feel like the other one with the little raglan is it raglan? I'm not entirely sure, but whatever construction it is, I definitely feel like it gives more of that sporty vibe versus this one gives more of like a delicate, slightly more elegant vibe. I'm not seeing it at first. Oh, saddle shoulder. This one has a saddle shoulder / set in sleeve construction. So if that's a construction that you like, again, I think it's a little bit more tailored. This is also another option as well. And then I have one fourth pattern that I was considering, and this one is from Caitlin Hunter. This is called Albina. So this is a long sleeve DK weight shirt, but it is knit with a summer yarn. So the recommended yarn is Ritual Dyes Undying DK, which is a cotton linen blend. So you can see in the pictures, it definitely gives off that drapiness of, characteristic of summer yarns. So again, I thought this was, I'll be honest, I could wear pieces like this in the winter time. that's, so I don't know, maybe I might get to this one eventually. It's definitely a practical piece for me. This one's on 3.75mm needles. And she has it like as a simple classic summer sweater. I'm not seeing what kind of construction. Oh, drop sleeve. It's definitely a drop sleeve construction. Perfect, the cotton linen blend for the summertime on a bit of a looser gauge. So again, also a good option if you are able to wear this type of item in the summertime. So those were all of the pattern ideas and my plans for the summertime. It is time to wrap up my projects with mohair, so I'll be finishing my two of my 3 whips have mohair in them, so I'll be finishing those up in this next month, and then I don't think I'll be casting anything on with mohair probably until maybe October, once it cools down, because September is still very hot where I'm at. So I don't foresee. I have quite a bit of mohair in my stash, but I don't really have the pairing yarns all ready for them, and I don't necessarily want to buy them this second, so they're going to be put on hold. I do quite enjoy working with mohair. I love the fluffiness and the texture and the softness. I really do enjoy that, but the time has come. The time has come. So anyways, that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, for all of your support and kind comments that you have left so far. I really do appreciate it. Comment, subscribe, stick around. I would love to have you be a part of this little community, and I will see you very soon. Bye.